women are not the least desirable. Black men are. And let me explain why before y'all get upset. Because this is not opposed to cause division, but to speak the truth. Black women, date outside your race. And when I say date out, I mean date out your country. If black women started to date out more, that whole black women are undesirable would be in the trash can, okay? People cannot like something that they are not.
We interrupt this program to prescribe you with 1,000 milligrams of red vitamins.
Right here, right now. It's the right time, It's the right sound. Right now. Tell the whole pipe down. Tell the nigga pipe down.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Reclaim Your Throne coming at you with another crazy video. But first, my goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. You already know. Reclaim your throne.
Black women are not the least desirable. Black men are. And let me explain why before y'all get upset. Because this is not opposed to cause division, but to speak the truth. The reason why a non-black man will not date a black woman is because they don't like black men. But you guys take it as us being unattractive and us being undesirable. No, they know that if they mate with a black woman, they will then produce a black child, but that black child can be male, and they don't want to raise a little black boy. Because again, they don't like y'all. It has nothing to do with us being unattractive. They don't want little black boys messing up their bloodline. And you guys talk so much mess about black women having sugar daddies. Who are their sugar daddies? Look at the races of men that are spending all their money on them. The most powerful men in the world started race mixing first, and now they're the least likely to do it. Why is that? And who is most likely to race mix now? Black men. Why is that?
Wow, so her arguments are gonna fall flat on their face when I break it down. So initially she says that black women are not the the least desirable, black men are. And here's the thing. When it comes to men, we all know that that is not true. I think the pecking order from the last time I checked the dating app data, it goes white men, then black men, then Hispanic men, then you get Indian, Asian, or maybe it's Asian, Indian. I mean, they're both from the continent of Asia, but as far as the ethnicity goes, you guys know what I'm talking about. So we know per dating app data that actually Asian men are the least attractive. And this comes from OkCupid data, and then this also comes from eHarmony data as well. So you see that she is trying to make the claim that black men are the least desirable when it comes to race, I believe we are the second most desirable. Now, when it comes to black women, the reason why they're the least desirable is strictly because of what they are on paper, okay? And we all know that 75% of our sisters are overweight or obese, and that, I think, is the biggest contributor. Also, along with the attitude and coming with, children out of wedlock, that is also a factor as to why they might be labeled the most or the least desired on dating apps. And the reality is, she says that the white men don't want to breed with black women because it's going to destroy their genetics. And it's not that they're concerned with having a black or mulatto young daughter, but they are concerned with having a black son. All right. And I'm sorry to tell you, but if you go to white supremacist Twitter, I guarantee you they're going to be upset if a white woman has a child with a black man, and then they would also be equally as upset if a white man had a child with a black woman and quote unquote damage their gene pool, right? So the reality is this woman, she is obviously spewing what they would claim is self-hate if it was coming from a black man. But because it's coming from a black woman, it's all good. She's a divester, and, you know, get your bag, sis, get your man, queen, and all that kind of stuff. Now, she actually says that, okay, white men were the first to, you know, or were one of the first to start race mixing, as she said at the end. But most of that was due to sexual assault. Let's just keep it a buck. The history of slavery is oftentimes very dark and bloody. And it's not that these men were just, oh, they're so attracted to these women that they're raping them. It's that they viewed them as property. That's really what it was. Now, I'm not saying that they weren't attracted to those women, because those were a different breed of women, and they actually were in a lot better shape, you know, due to the circumstances. I know they're dire circumstances, but let's just keep it a buck. The women of that past time were in a lot better shape when it comes to the community. So yeah, there are going to be more options for what this woman is advocating for. You know, the graping of black female slaves, which I don't advocate for at all. I think it was a disgusting practice. And I think any woman who is trying to use that historical time or period to justify attraction is absolutely bat-ish crazy, okay? And so now she juxtaposes the fact that white men were the most likely to intermingle sexually, interracially back in the day when, yes, they had all the power, so they were just graping anybody, all right? That's something that you can determine. But if another race of people had that same power, then they probably would have graped the women too at that time, because obviously now we have different social awareness, but back then it was not as socially aware, and, you know, men pretty much did whatever they willed or whatever they could get away with. Now, black men could not get away with these things. Black men were not out here graping and pillaging, at least in America, right? Until, you know, after slavery. And I'm not saying that it never happened or anything like, but it was a lot less common. Whereas the white men, slave owners, free men were able to take advantage of slaves. And this is just a known fact. So the fact that she's trying to, you know, compare and contrast, you know, antebellum slavery to modern day times when it comes to interracial dating is a stretch, a reach, and just, you know, it's preposterous. She also mentions sugar daddies. And why are all of black women sugar daddies white men? Well, because we all know, no disrespect to my white men, shout out to you guys, but we all know white men are the number one simps in the world. They're the number one people who are fueling monetized adult content. They're the number one people doing this. They're the number one people who, besides, you know, thirsty Indians, in the comments of IG models, you know what I'm saying? They're the number one people who are doing those things. And they're the number one people on seeking arrangements who have money to afford a sugar daddy. So yes, the reason why most black women sugar daddies are white men is because of an economic reason, not because of, oh, these white men are in droves, are just super attracted to black women, and there are black male sugar daddies, but, you know, it's the reality is black men, for one, we don't trick like that. I'm not saying that there aren't black tricks. We know all rappers are tricks, right? But we don't trick like that, for one. Okay, niggas might go to the strip club and throw some ones, and I do personally consider that tricking, but or they might just directly pay for the cootie, but they're not getting on seeking arrangements and trying to, you know, support a sugar baby's lifestyle and pay for her education in college. Black men just don't move that way, okay? So the reason why the majority of black female sugar daddies are white men is strictly based off of economics. It has nothing to do with attraction. Now, here's the thing. If you have a white sugar daddy as a black woman, guess what? He probably also has white sugar babies. So it's not even like you're getting him to yourself. You're obviously sharing him. It's a transactional relationship. You are a prostitute. You are a whore. You are selling WAP. So that is the secret arrangement, right? Or seeking arrangement situation that she is discussing here. And those arguments are completely null and void when you actually get to genuine, real relationships that are ongoing and happening in real life that are not. We all know all relationships are transactional, but we're talking about direct pay to play. That's what seeking arrangements is. That's what, prostitution is. That is what she's talking about. But when it comes down to just genuine attraction, right? That genuine desire that we talk about on this channel, those types of relationships are rarely formed between white men and black women. And she even says that's why she says, okay, now black women are most likely to date outside of their race. And she didn't really have an explanation for that. The only explanation that she had was to juxtapose it to white men enslaving black women and raping them. So she literally uses no real logic in this conversation, and that's why I wanted to break down this video.
Black women date outside your race. And when I say date out, I mean date out your country. If black women started to date out more, that whole black women are undesirable would be in the trash can, okay? People cannot like something that they are not used to, that they've never been introduced to. So stop listening to these guys who are online saying that you guys are undesirable and that people don't find you attractive. In real life, I attract men of all races, okay? So don't think that you are just limited to black love. I stated that non-black men who don't like black women do not like black men. And it's because we are a reflection of them. And black men got so upset about it. They said, don't blame us for why people find you guys unattractive. Don't blame us for why you can't find a man that likes you. That's not my reality. For instance, one black man said that other men say we look like men. Why is that? And it's because black men are looked at as the most masculine man here on earth. And again, we are a reflection of them. Black women have not done anything to other people to receive so much hate. But everything that is said about black men is projected onto us.
Oh, Lord.
Young black girls are taught to settle for struggle love, while other cultures of women are taught to have standards. And let you be a black woman with standards, you get ripped apart. And it's not that all black men are bad, it's just not that many good black men to choose from. And it's not just black women experiencing this, it's American women experiencing this. And I just want you to know that you are worth more than the love that you are settling for.
All right, it sounds good, but the reality is if you were so desired by men of other races, then you would, in fact, be married. Now, here's the issue. She says that black women date outside your race, and what I mean by date outside your race is date outside the country. Now let's look at the prospects outside of the country, okay? We're just going to use the 7 continents, okay? Let's use Australia, for instance, okay? Down under, where the toilet bowls flush in reverse. The reality is, and this is going to be a shocker, but Australia is an extremely racist country, okay? Look at what they've done to the Aborigine people who, were inhabitants of that land for eons before the white man showed up, okay? It's just a fact. It's a reality. Now, what those Aboriginal people did with the continent, as far as development goes, that's not the argument that I'm making. What I'm saying is that Australians are known, especially Australian men, are known to be a lot more racist than, even American men, especially if you look at Australian Twitter and white supremacist Twitter, you'll see it all over the place. Now let's speak about Africa. All right, earning potential in Africa, very low. The average man in Africa earns about $7,400. Let me repeat, $7,400 a year, annually, okay? An African man is only making about $7,400 a year, and a South American man is making just about the same amount. So when we're talking about prospects for black women, if they won't date black men because they believe that we're broke, dusty, and all this kind of stuff, then they definitely are not going to date African men. And then they definitely will not date South American men because on average, these men don't make close to what black men make annually, which is about $45,000 a year. Okay, so, let's go to China as well, or any of these Asian countries, all right? Indian men, extremely racist. Chinese men, extremely racist. Korean men, we're starting to hear about what's happening in Korea and the physical abuse that the men are putting on the Korean women. They're also racist. I mean, we could go down the line. We could go down to Europe. If you think that European men, and I'm not saying that it's impossible for these sisters to do this, but this is not sound advice. The best chance, the best bet that black women have is linking up with black men. Now, they can do whatever they want. I really don't care. I support anybody as long as they find love. But to say that your chances are better off overseas is just riffraff, okay? This also comes from women who have never traveled overseas. This comes from women who have never left the country, who don't even have passports. And this woman is a single mom. Yes, I will show you the proof shortly before we end this little video off. But guys, it doesn't make sense. Where else are you going to go to find the men who are going to choose you? I'm telling you right now, Eastern European men, they're pretty much tired of anybody with a shade, 2 shades darker than them. They're tired of it, okay? They're getting mass immigration. They want all the Africans to leave. They want all the Indians to leave. We see the smoke that Indians are getting on Twitter. They want all the Arab, Muslim, people from Muslim countries to leave their country, okay? So if you think you're going to have better chances in dating as a black woman overseas, you got another thing coming. Now let's talk about Middle Eastern countries, okay? Which, a lot of these Middle Eastern countries are located in Asia or Eurasia, this part of the world, right? For one, you're going to be sharing that man. In the Muslim culture, they are permitted to have 4 wives as long as they treat them equally. Now, we actually heard a story. Shout out to Destro Reborn from YouTube. If you go to his YouTube, one of his most recent videos, he shows a woman telling a story from TikTok about her sister who went and dated a man in Saudi Arabia. And when she had a child out of wedlock that she brought over to the Middle East, and she thought, everything was all good. She thought she done got a Saudi Arabian prince and all this kind of stuff. And yes, the man had money and he chose her technically as a wife. But the reality is he was not done. Okay. So when he got her pregnant, he basically told her, hey, you're pregnant. You can't satisfy my sexual needs. Now it's time for me to go find another wife. So he actually put her in the basement with her son and was fielding other wives. And he had a 3-story home and he was using the top 2 stories to field other wives from, other Muslim men's families, okay? Because that's how they do it. It's more of an arranged situation rather than go to the club and pick something up off the street. And then she also mentioned that her son, who was born out of wedlock, who was in fact a black man, was getting rained on with hellfire and smoke and fire and brimstone and damn near being stoned in the street just because he was a black man. So not only will your progeny not be protected, your seed will not be protected in these Middle Eastern countries unless you're willing to fight to the death, baby. And hey, trust me, I'm not saying that Middle Eastern men can throw down better than black men, but you are outnumbered over there in that sandy ass country, okay? So you're going to go over there, you're going to take your black ass over there, and then they're going to stone your ass in the streets for being black. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen on every occasion, but if you are traveling to some of these Middle Eastern countries and you don't have no connections, you don't have any covering, okay? Remember we talked biblically, the covering of your husband. Yes, the only reason why she probably wasn't stoned in the street is because of the covering of her husband. But her son was not covered. Therefore, he was accosted. He was abused. He was disrespected. He was made fun of because of the color of his skin. And this just goes to show that modern women do not care about the mental health of their children because they're willing to drag their bastard ass kid out of the United States and take him over to a country that hates him. So, I think it's very interesting that, all this crap that this woman is talking. She is, in fact, a single mom. She's not married. but she's talking all this stuff like she knows what other races of men want. Baby girl, I'm telling you right now, you need to get with a Malcolm. And honestly, I wouldn't even advise my Malcolms to get with this woman, but her best bet is to get with a ninja who works at the poultry. Her best bet is to get a ninja who works at the water plant. Her best bet is to get a ninja who works at Caterpillar, okay? The industrial plant. Her best bet is to work at a ninja who works in manufacturing at Henry Ford's, you know what I'm saying, assembly line. That is her best bet, okay? A mildly attractive, lucrative, communicative, operational, likable black man is going to be the best bet for this woman, because I'm telling you right now, most of the time, and I'm not saying all the time because I have seen the anomalies, but most of the time, white men are not playing big stepdaddy to mixed race kids, especially if the child is mixed with black. Or, I mean, raising a full black kid at all right? What we see is, we'll see these white families and they'll adopt, this African or whatever and all this kind of stuff. But most of the time, the husband was not really for it. He was just, oh, okay, well, the wife wants it. Happy wife, happy life. But most of the time, I'm telling you right now, white men are not inclined to raising black children. They just aren't, okay? It could be genetic. It could be whatever you want to call it. You could call it racism if you want to. But that's something that they do not want to do. And if you don't believe me, literally log on to Twitter and just, scroll up and down. You will see it up and down your feed. These men do not want to raise black children, period. Okay? So, I think this is ill-advised advice from... I honestly, she looks like a stripper to me. I wouldn't be surprised if she was a stripper. She is, in fact, a single mom, and we're going to prove this in the next slide that I show you. All right, guys, so there you have it. It looks like she has a little girl. The girl looks just like her. I don't have any smoke for the child, but this woman is, in fact, a single mom, and she's over here talking about, oh, other races of men want us and this and the third. I mean, your daughter looks mixed race. Where is her father? See, they have all this smoke for black men. And, black men are deadbeats. Black men are dusty. Black men are broke. But then when they go and lay up with another race of man, and then they're left to hold the bag. They're left being the single mother because they gave him that attitude that black men are willing to handle. Let's keep it a buck. Black men are willing to handle the attitude and the smoke and the spice that oftentimes comes from black women. We're willing to handle it. We're built that way. We can take it. Other races of men cannot take that lip coming from black women. Now, black men are used to it because obviously your mama black and she might have talked to you crazy when you was growing up, or your aunties, or some black woman in your family, your grandma, whatever, she done chomped you out multiple times. You understand this as a black man. And this is why we are willing to tolerate the attitude coming from black women in 2024. Now, other races of men are not willing to do that. And, it looks like, I'm not going to go off the limb and say that she has a mixed race child. The child does look high yellow, okay? But at the same time, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt because it looks like she has a lot of smoke for black men. So I'm assuming that a black man might have left her with that child to raise on her own. So, I mean, but the reality is when you are dating outside your race and then you show that other race of man your child, I'm telling you right now, he is going to judge you for it. And that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm not going to say that they're going to do this or do that. Yes, there are going to be some men outside of your race who are going to overlook it and who are going to play stepdaddy and all this stuff because we have a simp pandemic, a simping epidemic going on right now. But the reality is, if she thinks she's going to go take that child and then take that child to a white man and be like, hey, let's be one big happy family, I'm going to tell you it's not going to work out how you thought it was. But anyways, you already know what it is. It's your boy, ReclaimYourThrone. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Send your relationship question to email down below or the screenshot of your CashApp so no opinion on time, man. Y'all to be on your market with the BS. You already know. Reclaim your throne.
Become an elite level athlete? Well, look no further. The Reclaim Your Throne Elite D1 training course is all you need to take your performance from subpar to the creme de la creme of athletes all around the world. The purpose of this course is to give you a comprehensive weight training, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance program that is meant to prepare young athletes for collegiate and professional sports. This course is packed with over 2 hours of creative, action-packed lifts narrated and coached by yours truly to assure increased strength, speed, flexibility, recovery, and endurance. Hey, I get it. Training alone can be tough and can even make you feel misguided or somewhat unmotivated. But with this course, I walk you step by step through each and every lift to make sure you're using the proper form to prevent injuries and that you're hitting the correct muscle groups to render maximum results. So what are you waiting for? It's now or never. So go ahead and get the training course today so you too can reclaim your throne.